Hey guys, we are covering a new case today. It's the Kelsey Berreth case. We will be reacting to the Dr. Oz episode of what happened to Kelsey and the trial of her fiancé Patrick. Now today's question, how did Kelsey and Patrick meet? 1. Match.com. 2. At a rodeo. 3. Farmersonly.com. 4. Through a friend. 5. At a festival. We will give you the answer to the question at the end. Now here for today's shout outs. How would you like to have a shout out on our future videos? Only thing you have to do is add a comment in this video with the hashtag word that we will provide to you later. How easy is that? Now, are you ready to discuss this case? See you in the studio.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Studio 7.0. And if you are new here,
I'm Shurak.
And I'm Eju, and we cover a bunch of different cases. And we like to get into some of the details, stick more to the facts of the case, the information we get, kind of stay away from speculation where we can. We do some reaction videos like we do today, but mostly we try to do put together our own videos, and we do some live streams and things like that. We don't do a full story mode like some channels. They do an hour, 2 hours just on the whole story. We kind of like to get into different pieces and dissect it a little bit further. But today we got a new case. But before we get into that.
Yes, this is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to others, friends, family, strangers.
Everyone you come in contact with. And as mentioned in the intro, this is a Kelsey Berreth. So I can't say these names. And this is a Dr. Oz episode that we're reacting to today. He does a great job.
Great job.
Give him credit. We'll put it in the credits as well.
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz. So, we've done a couple of his videos before. He's a medical doctor. He kind of dove into this true crime. I think he does an excellent job. So without further ado, we are going to get into that. All right, just about right now. You guys can see it. So let's get going. There's a couple of commercials he puts in his own show. I'll try to see if I can fast forward those. I have ad-free YouTube, but unfortunately, these type of things I have to manually go through and fast forward. So here we go.
The case of Kelsey Berreth chills me to the core. This beautiful 29-year-old new mother went missing last year. Her case was known as the missing mom mystery. To this day, her body has never been found. The investigation into her case would reveal a secret love affair with an alleged devious plot to commit a brutal murder. Prosecutors claim it was all masterminded by Kelsey's fiancé, Patrick Frazee, with the help of his mistress, Crystal Lee Kenney. Now, behind bars, Frazee's trial is finally set to begin. Crime correspondent Melissa Moore has the story. Take a look.
Sorry, guys.
Kelsey Berreth was last seen.
Sorry, guys. I was trying to stop it and I hit the wrong button. We'll try not to stop it too much, but because we have to react to it and put our own little vibe to it, we have to, try not to talk over it. We got comments that we're talking over videos. So we'll try to stop it a few times here because we have to make it enough for our own to get credit here. So really quickly, we will give more updates on the trial as it goes along. We will have future episodes on this case and provide more detail. Today's just kind of intro, so I just want to mention that.
On November 22nd, 2018. Here she is on supermarket surveillance footage shopping with her 1-year-old daughter. Her estranged fiancé, Patrick Frazee, is said to be the last person to have seen Berreth when he claimed she left their daughter with him. December 2nd, Berreth is reported missing by her concerned mother, who's been unable to reach her for 10 days. Responding officers find Berreth's home empty. Her cars, her clothes, and her toothbrush all appeared untouched. Family and friends take to social media, spurring a viral search effort to no avail. Scrutiny soon falls on Patrick Frazee. On December 14th, police search his home. Then, on December 21st, he is charged with first-degree murder and solicitation to commit murder.
While we have not found Kelsey at this time, information has been developed that is helping to narrow down our search. As you can tell from the arrest, sadly, we do not believe Kelsey is still alive.
And they have not found the body yet. And, you know, I know a lot of times they always go to like to the boyfriend, fiance, or whatever. But again, she was, what we know, she was a nice woman and really didn't have any enemies that were reported.
Police allege Frazee beat Berreth to death with a baseball bat in her apartment on November 22nd and enlisted his lover, Idaho nurse Crystal Lee Kenny, to help clean up the crime scene and dispose of the body. Kenny, now cooperating with investigators, stated in an affidavit that Frazee initially tried to pressure her into murdering Berreth. On one occasion by poisoning her coffee, on another by hitting her with a metal pipe. According to the affidavit, she was in Idaho on November 22nd when Frazee texted, "You need to get out here now. You've got a mess to clean up."
So just, I don't know if they're going to mention it later, but the girlfriend there, she was trying to, he told her to, you know, poison. She tried like 3 times, you know, he asked her to take a pipe and knock her in the head, you know, poison her. And I guess 2 or 3 times she couldn't get herself to do the murder because Patrick wanted her to do it for him, the murder. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shrek.
So Crystal actually knocked on the door and she opened the door and she had like a cup of coffee in her hand to give to Crystal. She said she was new in the neighborhood, which was interesting, but no one can determine. She said she could not put any poisoning inside the
She couldn't get herself to do it.
Yeah.
But the bottom line, you shouldn't have been going that far to begin with. But that's a whole other story. I don't want to go too far in this. Let's continue on with the story, but I at least want to mention that part. Thanks, Sharok.
She understood that as Berreth has been killed. Kenny arrived with bleach, gloves, a hairnet, shoe covers, and other cleaning supplies and helped clean the crime scene. She says Frazee told her details of the murder. He was having her guess the scents of different candles. She was blindfolded and distracted. He hit her with a bat, causing her death. 2 envelopes with teeth in them were found by police in Frazee's home. According to Kenny, Frazee burned Berreth's body on his property. Police have been unsuccessful at locating her remains. On April 17th, they concluded their search. In May, Patrick Frazee pleaded not guilty. He's awaiting trial. It's reported that his defense team have made requests to suppress evidence and introduce an alternate suspect. And there is speculation that the suspect they will name is Crystal Lee Kenny.
Joining me now is crime correspondent Melissa Moore. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Before we get into that conversation, I'm trying to stop at good points here. So, Shrek, number 1, we're going to get a hold of that document because it seems like some of that stuff's been released, the affidavit. So I want to get a hold of that.
Yeah.
We'll chew it for the next episode. Because when we do our own, we kind of dive into the data and details.
Exactly.
And so Crystal was kind of smart in a way, and she went to authorities. And like they said, it's kind of like making a deal with the devil, meaning they needed to get all the information against Patrick. So they kind of made a deal with her, even though she'll probably still do some time. But, you know, you wonder who is really, you know, doing, you know, who's really behind it. Because the whole, I think it was mentioned in one of these videos that the candle thing, it doesn't sound like a man idea. You know, it sounds like more of a woman that, in other words, to hit her over the head with a bat where we're doing the candles and blindfolding her. Would that idea come from a man or a woman? And we'll get into all that later, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. Sorry.
Thank you.
There's no body.
Right.
The mistress claims that Patrick Frazee brutally beat her to death.
And the details in the affidavit read like a horror novel.
So what's most rattling you about this case?
This case is about extreme betrayal. Unlike any case I've ever worked on, this poor victim, Kelsey, I think we can all relate to Kelsey. She's going to the supermarket, you know, for Thanksgiving, forgot a couple ingredients. She texted Patrick saying, "Do you want to have some sweet potato casserole?" So that tells me in itself that Patrick has said that they weren't together anymore, that they broke up. First of all, if you broke up, are you going to be asking if you want a sweet potato casserole? No. The second part, though, that debunks what he's saying that they broke up, is the fact that, according to Kenny, in her affidavit, she said that how he lured her is that he went to the house, blindfolded her. Who do you know trusts an ex-boyfriend or fiance to blindfold you? She's smelling candles.
Great.
He tells her to smell these different candles.
So he blindfolds her under the guise that she got this romantic thing going on?
Exactly. And so my mind goes to, as a female, I'm thinking, okay, it's fall. Is she smelling pumpkin spice, vanilla, like she's relaxed? And that's where the horror starts. Like the fact that she's blindfolded, he hits her across the head with a baseball bat, so much so that her teeth fly across, sorry, it just really rattles me up, flies across the room.
That is nuts. I mean, she makes up a good point there. Like, if you broke up with somebody, hey, come on, let me blindfold you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
What do you think, Chirac?
And one thing is that when we definitely do a deep dive into this,
Which
a lot of this data is really maybe coming from Crystal. I know they saying she's like the only person that knows, because I guess he told
knows the
her.
details, yeah. Unless she did it, that's a whole other thing. We don't get
Yeah.
that.
Now it's just kind of interesting. If somebody hit you in the back of the head, I don't know if the teeth fall out, but on the side it would. But on the back, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on a lot of factors. The force, the teeth,
and they mentioned something
itself,
I think kept
the
it
gums.
too.
There's a lot of pieces to it, but good insight, Schrock, and this also good insights there, guys. We're trying really hard to, pause this in certain places, and so we're not trying to over talk this. So bear with us.
And Crystal's part of this?
That's what baffles me the most, is that here we have this mistress who knows about Kelsey, knows that she's a mother, and then she's solicited a couple times by Patrick to come and kill her. She actually meets Kelsey. She actually comes down and gives her a Starbucks coffee. She was supposed to poison it. So the fact that she actually went that far to meet her tells me something's not right with Crystal. I mean, she breaks every code of honor in the women's code. The fact that, first of all, it tells me she's competing against Kelsey and has something she wants to win.
Again, these are allegations. We don't know.
Right.
This is what we're hearing.
Right.
What would have been the motive? Why would a man want to kill a woman so much so that he'd go through this difficulty?
Well, what we do know is that there was a custody battle for this little girl. And then again, I think about a psychopath, a sociopath. They don't really, like my father, he didn't really want to be a dad. I don't think Patrick really wanted to be a full-time dad. I think he wanted to hurt Kelsey. I think he wanted control over her. Here's this beautiful woman who's a pilot. She has everything to live for. She has this beautiful little girl, and she can leave and be successful without him. And I don't think he liked that she could be on her own. And this is what tells me about abusive relationships, because I look at this and I believe she was in an abusive relationship with Patrick. And what I know about abusive relationships is that everything can look okay on the surface, and she probably wanted people to know everything was okay. But I believe, from everything I've read and the research that I've done, that she was in an abusive relationship, that he was trying to control her. And in abusive relationships, there's a stage called love bombing. And so what made me think that they were in a love bombing stage is the fact that he was wooing her with this candle setup the day that allegedly he killed her.
What is love bombing?
Love bombing is when, anybody at home that's listening to this.
So Dr. Oz has never had love bombing on it. But I paused in a bad spot. But look at his desk. I see all these vials. I know it's just for like aesthetics to make it look cool, because he's medicine. You see all these liquids. Okay, that's not just kind of, come on, Dr. Oz. That's kind of creepy or whatever too. All those, what's in those vials there? Sorry.
If they're in a relationship and they have a pattern, you can see this. It's initially where they give you everything that you need. They know all your buttons. They know what you love. They know how to woo you. That's the charm. They give you everything you want. It's flowers, it's cleaning the house, it's everything that you would desire in a man or in a partner. And then the second stage is devaluation. That's when you start to get the pull away. they're back in their old pattern, not treating you as well. They start to make comments to you, like putting you down. I think he was degrading her character. I think that becomes the tape that goes into your head, similar to what my dad would say about me. He would say negative things about me, and I started to believe it. And this is the point where people ask, like, why do you stay in an abusive relationship? It's because they break down your character. They break down your identity of how you see yourself. So he was able, I believe, to keep her trapped in this relationship due to that. And then the final stage is discard. And in this case, I believe he murdered her.
As a way of discarding her. The family has filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Why? Why would they go through that when he's being charged for murder?
Well, I think of it similar to OJ, how they didn't get a conviction on OJ for Nicole Simpson, so they pursued him financially. And then in this case, if he's found innocent, then he can sell his story to the media, to books, to movies. And I think they want to make sure that he never profits from this.
That goes back to the episode when this gets aired. We'll have the other episode out. And that is the celebrity, the new celebrity. She's kind of talking about that schrock that we just covered.
Exactly.
So it's weird because as we're recording this, that episode hasn't come out yet, but it will be. And actually, what we'll do is we'll tag that episode at the end of this show, this episode, so you guys can see it, the new celebrity. But talks about how people become famous from being a murderer or being, criminal. And a lot of what she's saying too is part of that. They make a lot of money. Like look at Jodi Arias in terms of her photos and pictures and all kinds of.
Yeah, okay. Tons of.
And that this follows him in some way.
And he's at, is it correct he's wearing a bulletproof vest when he goes to court?
Right.
That's how much he's disliked?
This is, well, for all moms out here, like, if you had to go to court and hear that your daughter was brutally attacked in this manner, there's something primal in a mother. They call it mama bear, where you are going to lash out, you are going to react. And I don't know if I could sit in a courtroom, look at the man that killed my daughter and not react, especially when I'm hearing testimony. And not only that, we also are in Colorado. People do carry guns there. I don't know. I would think somebody would probably.
This is another Colorado episode.
The third one.
So is it the third one? Because we had the Chris Watts case, of course. Suzanne Morphew. What was the third? This is three.
This is the third one.
I know John Benet Ramsey. We didn't cover that one, but that was also in Colorado.
Yeah, but we didn't cover
What's
that.
going on in Colorado? Sorry, guys.
The hot spot.
I guess so.
Really want to hurt him.
Up
Well,
next,
that was-
an exclusive interview with Kelsey's childhood friend and how she.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying how he had that bulletproof vest on.
Yeah.
And that's unique. I never seen anyone like that before, like even in other criminals.
No, some have.
I never
It
noticed
depends
that.
on the case. Depends. I don't know what determines that. I'll ask my friend. I thought we should interview him someday. I have a friend who's a marshal that deals with some of this stuff, and I can ask next time I see him.
Interesting.
Sure.
She knew Kelsey was dead from the moment she disappeared. Don't go away. We're taking you inside the Chili reunion. What would it take for her to come back? Patrick Frazier
Sorry, guys,
is
this
alleged
is
to have plotted
fast
her
forwarding a little
murder
bit.
with the help of his mistress, Crystal Lee Kenny. His alleged motive, to gain full custody of their baby. Joining me now is Nicole, Kelsey's childhood friend, and I thank you for being here. I know this is a sensitive time for you and the family. What do you believe really happened to Kelsey? You just heard Melissa describe some of the background. You've been following the case closer than anybody.
There's just a horrific amount of testimony that's come out after the fact, but I just know from the very beginning when we heard that she was missing, at that point it had already been 10 days, and I knew right off the bat something wasn't right.
Yeah, my
It was
birthday.
not something that Kelsey would have wanted to do, to be away for that long. She wouldn't have gone missing without contacting at least her mom. She's very close with her family, especially her mom. So the fact that no one had heard from her for that amount of time just crushed me from the very moment. Something was not right.
Did you believe she was dead the moment you heard she'd been missing?
Either dead or held against her will. Those are the only two options.
Let's talk a little bit about Patrick. There were issues between Patrick and Kelsey. Did you know much about what was going on there?
I didn't know anything at the time. I hadn't, really discussed that specifically with Kelsey. But after the fact, in talking to one of our friends, she had confided in another friend that there were issues even before the baby was born. There were some control issues and, things that didn't sit well with our other friend. And she kind of talked to her about that a little bit. But, Kelsey's a really strong person. She's strong-willed. She has strong family ties. Her family, like I said, her family's very tight-knit. So I can imagine with a baby on the way, she would want to keep things together. She'd want to work through things. Yeah. But we just didn't know exactly where all this was going to go.
Yeah, and the thing it is sometimes people don't want to like air their dirty laundry, or they like if she's a strong person, she probably figure she'll ride this out, she'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chirac?
Well, they definitely had some challenges. I read on this, and it basically stated they were like in two different towns. Like they was not even
Yeah,
close. They never
they
even
weren't
lived
close together.
together. And they really didn't have any intentions. I don't know. And they say fiance, but I think they was gonna break it off. They was basically
Well,
was
that's
mentioning that
probably
they
like
was.
some of the motivation here, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into this the court documents, the affidavits and other stuff, because I want to see.
It's,
A lot of times you comb through that, you find like some really key triggers and other things here.
yeah, because how can you have someone as your fiance and you have a mistress? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you're not even married yet. You already have
yeah.
you have another
Oh,
woman already, that's just like kind of it just
yeah.
doesn't tie in together. I don't think they
I
were
hope
ever
they have a
going to get
transcript
married.
of some of the interviews. Like this is one we're just picking up, so we don't have all the details. But I really
Yeah, we
looking
need
forward
to.
to
We're gonna
digging
deep
more.
dive into this one because there's a lot of questions needs to be
So,
answered.
So it would fit her personality not to have verbalized a lot.
yeah, she's not one to go out and talk about people. There was an instance from
There you
earlier in
go.
our childhood where she had an issue with somebody, but I didn't know about it until later when another friend told me, just because she didn't like that person talking negatively about someone else. So she's not one to go out and rustle up enemies where she doesn't need to. She doesn't want to stir up controversy or, things like that.
Sometimes you want to be a stick in the mud. And in particular, when there's concerns about abuse, it's hard for people to help if they don't know. Melissa just spoke to the fact that he may have been, quote unquote, love bombing her, manipulating her emotionally. If in fact the allegations are true and she was blindfolded in almost a romantic way to sniff on a candle when she was beaten with a baseball bat, it would signify a very devious mind in Patrick. Any thoughts about whether that might be true? Anything you've heard from the friends group about whether he had that type of a mindset?
It very well could be, from what it sounded like from our other friend, that he was manipulative and that he enjoyed control, and part of that is controlling her to think that she is in a safe place, so that it kind of could fit the narrative there.
And if he was really good at controlling Chirac, don't you agree that this other woman, this other girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, also fell in that trap? Now, I'm not saying, again, I don't know enough information about her. What's her name? Crystal again?
Crystal, yeah.
Um,
Crystal Lee.
that, if she's, because if he's really good at controlling, still she has her own mind, but it sounds like he had that type of gift, if you want to call it. I hate to call it gift, but.
Yeah.
There's a little baby involved. It's just a year old when the mom disappeared. How's she doing?
She's thriving. She's a beautiful little girl. She's wonderful. I have 2 little girls as well, so I've really done my best to grow that relationship between her and my daughter. So she has a support group. She's going to have
It's Kaylee, right?
cousins to grow up with, because she doesn't have any other family outside of the immediate family there. So we're surrounding her, we're loving her. She's wonderful. We're just so thankful we can have this time with her.
And how's the family keeping the memory of Kelsey alive?
There's a few different ways. At Kelsey's memorial service, they had these this basket full of rocks that people could come and put little notes on there for baby Kaylee and tell her little memories about her mom. Kaylee loves to walk around with rocks and little things like that. So that was a neat little thing they could do to make a little memorial rock garden for her. The family's also going to put together a memory book. I started a secret group on Facebook for people who personally knew Kelsey so that we could share memories, share pictures and stories so that the family will have as much as possible to put together so that she will know how wonderful her mom was.
I'm happy you're doing that, and I'm happy you're trying to get your kids to bond with her a bit. Thank you for visiting with us.
So we're going to stop right there. That was a good, what do you call, teaser trailer into, what we're going to talk about in the future. If you guys made it this far, if you want a chance for a shout out in a future episode, you got to put this key hashtag word in a comment on this particular video, and we'll randomly pick some folks and you'll be spotlighted as a shout out in a future episode. And the key word today is Kaylee.
Yes.
All right, which is the.
And just to be clear, we'll just do some random ones. If it's a lot of comments,
Oh yeah,
it's going to do some
yeah.
random ones.
Of course, it's just going to be a random set. And before we do a summary on this whole conversation, Chirac, let's get to the question. So the question today was, how did Kelsey and Patrick meet? Was it number 1, Match.com, number 2, at a rodeo, number 3, at farmersonly.com, number 4, through a friend, or number 5, at a festival? And the answer is farmersonly.com. So I wonder how many of you got that right. Let us know. Okay, I'm just curious because that one we didn't kind of give hints during the show. Yeah. So let's wrap this up, Chirac. So I think this wasn't good to pick up because, we're gonna see what the justice is. There's a lot of documents we have to go through. It's kind of mysterious. They can't find her body. Who knows if they ever will. The whole thing with Crystal, not knowing if she was really the main one or not the main one in this whole thing. I want to get your final thoughts before we sign off.
Yes, Crystal definitely is the key to the open door. She was there. She was definitely involved. And she wants to definitely get a plea because she doesn't want to spend too much time in jail. And I think that's best, right? So she definitely did clean up a lot of the blood. And so she's definitely cooperating with the authorities much as possible. At the beginning, they said, she was not, they called her some lies, but then, she came forth and said, you know what, I'm just going to just lay all the truth out. So she's definitely cooperating and she's definitely asking her tons of questions and she's answering them the best of her ability of what she remembered.
Again, that's playing, both sides. That's her truth, but is it the truth? And that's something we're going to dive into deeper down the road. You at least want to introduce this a case because, again, I mentioned this a lot. Chirac Steamer say it. We don't just cover the Chris Watts case. I know we got a lot of folks that really love that case.
Chris Watts, yeah.
We're more than that. We cover other cases. If you like to see more of this one, let us know. If you have other ones, let us know.
Yes.
Like to see it in the comments. Remember that hashtag if you want to do a future shout out. Any last thoughts?
Yes, and just to, like you said, we do cover other cases, but a lot of our technique and what we do is that some things ours is like a little bit of mystery. They can't find the body, or we are not 100% sure who did it.
Yeah, there's something missing.
A missing piece, so we can deep dive into that. If something is plain and simple, you see it on video, the whole thing. That's something that's probably just going to bypass us because all the evidence is there, right? 100% of the evidence. So we definitely want to do something where there's definitely a lot of holes, a lot of gaps, so we can just deep dive into that.
Sounds good. I was just moving around over here. She ran away, but we have a black cat named Boo. She's the cutest thing. She doesn't meow. She meows an average of once every 3 to 4 months, which she's just happy, content cat. Really sweet, but she likes to come visit us while we're recording sometimes. So I got distracted. Anyhow, we will catch you in the next one.
Studio 70.